What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the New York Sports Take. I'm your host, Matt O'Connor. I'm joined alongside Tim Fitzpatrick today. I believe it's episode number 19. We want to get right into it. We've experienced some technical difficulties, so let's get down to the meat and potatoes. First of all, though, Tim, I always have to ask all of my guests, how you doing? How you feeling on this fine Monday?
Feeling good, man. I got good sleep last night. I'm feeling fired up. I'm just ready and excited to do this podcast with you, Matt. No one else would rather do it with, man.
Yeah, you gotta love it. You live in the present. You're ready for this moment. Obviously, we all consumed some excellent football yesterday. Let's start there. It was great football, and we are getting a rematch of the 2014 Super Bowl. The New England Patriots, as much as that hurts us Jet fans to say, are going back to the Super Bowl, and they are playing Seattle. It's going to be an epic rematch. It was an epic game in 2014 between those two teams. Ultimately, the decisive play was that interception on the goal line that Russell Wilson threw to Malcolm Butler when the Seahawks were much maligned for not going beast mode in that moment and handing it off to Marshawn Lynch, instead opting to throw the ball, and it cost them the Super Bowl. But these games yesterday, Tim, starting off with the Patriots and the Broncos, it was ugly, it was drunk, it was a slop fest. The first half, no snow on the ground, and going into that football game yesterday, the forecast said maybe some flurries, maybe Denver gets brushed up a little bit with the snow going into the second half. But nobody, no weatherman, no forecaster, nothing out there said that the amount of snowfall that they got was going to come to fruition. They got absolutely pounded. It was unbelievable. By the fourth quarter, everybody was slipping all over the field. The teams were unable to move the ball and go downfield. Nobody could do really anything in the second half of that football game. Ultimately, all the Patriots needed was 3 points. They had one decent drive off the heels of Drake May's legs. That's all they needed to get it done in the second half of that football game. But let's talk about that game. I think that's where we start. That was the first game that took place yesterday of the two. And Tim, there's a lot of plays that we have to break down. Sean Payton's decision in the second quarter to go for it on 4th and 1. But the game started on a boom. 51-yard pass to Marvin Mims to get things started. Looked like Jared Stidham was getting in the rhythm. Hadn't started an NFL game in nearly 800 days. But he came out on the right page, no doubt about it. It was a beautiful throw down the right seam. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, we might see some scoring in this football game here today. Obviously not the case. But I want to get your thoughts a little bit. Just big picture first, how this game played out. Who did you think was going to win? And, what was your perception after that first sequence where it looked like the Broncos were poised to have an offensive breakout?
Right away from the get-go, like you said, he hasn't played football in a while. The big question was, how is he going to play? First drive, he makes a statement. He was ready to go, locked in. He looked really good. He had that deep ball to Mims, and then he had a nice over-the-shoulder to Cortland Sutton. Started off on a great note. I was like, wow, can the Broncos actually win this game with their backup? And, the first half and the second half, the weather, it just looked like two completely different days. I've never seen anything like it. It's unreal. It's a defensive battle, honestly. The running back, it was a defensive battle and running back battle. And honestly, in the second half, you could just tell the Patriots, they were playing it safe, running the ball, relying on their defense. And honestly, it worked, to be honest. They didn't do anything special. They did trust Drake May. Everyone thought they were going to run the ball in the end. He ran it himself. That was a gutsy call, and it worked. And I think the Patriots outcoached the Broncos 100%, and I think that is why they won the football game. And I thought the Broncos were going to win it.
You mentioned, really good points there, Tim. And you mentioned coaching. Listen, Mike Vrabel loves his quarterback. He loves Drake May. Drake May has emulated the media courtesy of handing off the first question to a female reporter. You already know there's instant chemistry there. The Patriots prior to this season were coming off 2 14-loss seasons. He comes in, talk about what good coaching can make such a big difference. And that's Mike Vrabel's style of football. He doesn't care whatever it takes, he's going to run the ball at will if that's the healthiest thing for the team to do, and that gives them the best chance to win. And in yesterday's case with that snow, that's what it was. I thought CBS did a remarkable job of documenting how bad the snow was. They were putting up the virtual hash marks just so us fans could kind of see where the ball was at throughout the game. It was ridiculous. But Mike Vrabel, man, I know he's not that offensive play caller. It's obviously Josh McDaniels, who's had a great year calling games for them. But you know that Mike was behind the idea to just ground and pound and run the ball at will down the stretch there. At the end of the first half, very conservative. They were knotted at 7. I already touched upon the fact that the snow really picked up. It was kind of gradual. CBS also showed what it looked like towards the end of the second quarter when there were some flurries kicking in, then the beginning of the third when there was some actual snow on the ground. Then, by the end of the third, early fourth quarter, it was madness. There was snow, probably 6 or 7 inches already. I did it again with the 6 or 7, already on the ground and more to come. So it was gradual, but it got really bad there towards the end. It felt like the Broncos just simply didn't have a chance. Let's talk about some of the specific plays here, though. So the Patriots, this is all they really needed. The scoring ended after Drake May engineered a 64-yard drive to open up the second half. Tim, that possession was 9 minutes and 31 seconds, and they didn't even have to punch it in. Andy Borregales, their kicker, put it through the uprights there to give them the 10-7 lead. That ended up being the final score. And then, the weather worsened. Patriots defense was so good during this game. But let's go back before that. So they led, I know I'm kind of jumping around all over here, but they took the 10-7 lead there. But there was a point in time here, Tim, it was midway through the second quarter. Denver's leading 7-0. It was 4th and 1 at the New England 14. And a field goal, this was pre-snow, by the way, and a field goal attempt could have made it a 10-0 game. But Denver ends up opting to go for it on 4th and 1. Jarrett Stidham rolls out to his right. Patriots secondary was just blanketing every Broncos wide receiver. He had no chance. I think that they were I think they were going zone defense there. I think Sean Payton maybe expected man-to-man coverage, but they went with the zone. It was very effective. They put pressure right in Stidham's face right away. The Broncos right guard did a terrible job of containing his guy, so there was pressure in Stidham's face right away. Nobody was open. He had nowhere to go with the football. Ends up being incomplete, and the Patriots take control of the ball deep into their own territory. Hindsight's 2020. I'll let you chime in on this. I personally have no problem with the play call there. You're trying to be aggressive, and Sean Payton said this on the post-game too. The momentum was going in the direction at that point in time. And again, it's one thing if Houdini was on the sidelines letting Sean Payton know, oh, by the way, there's going to be reckless snow in the second half and you're not going to be able to move the football at all, then he probably would have taken the points. But as I mentioned at the beginning of the program, nobody knew the severity of the snow at that point in time. There was still nothing on the ground yet. So you're trying to be aggressive. Stidham looked pretty polished up until that point. The defense is playing lights out, and if you have a 2-touchdown lead that early on in the football game, your chances are really good. So I don't have it. Maybe the play call itself wasn't the right call based off the way that the Patriots defense was lined up man-to-man. But actually going for it, I didn't have a problem. What do you think? You think they should have just taken the points?
I actually completely agree with you. It's 4th and 1. It's not 4th and 3. It's not 4th and 4. Again, like you said, the Broncos have a 7-0 lead right now. I think they're on the New England's 14. You have a backup quarterback. He hasn't played football in a while. Sean Payton's thinking, and the weather, like you said, the weather was fine at the time, and I completely agree with you when you said about the weather. If he knew the weather was going to be bad in the second half, I think he would have taken the points because it got really bad. We saw in the second half there was 0 points in the game. I completely agree that I really do think they should have went for it on the 4th down. It sucks that they didn't get it, but they got to live with it. And I don't think the play call was the best. But from your question, right, I really do think it was the right decision to go for it. And I have you can't blame Payton on that. Honestly, he's being aggressive. I respect it. You just gotta live or die with it.
Yeah, you're spot on. You got to live or die with it. Obviously, social media heads and NFL fans all over are going to, oh, you got to take the points in that kind of game, whatever. But in today's modern NFL world, everybody goes for it on 4th and short. You're trying to be aggressive. Sean Payton's an offensive-minded guy. I'm not surprised by that decision, and you can't lament it too much, I don't think. And there was other missed opportunities, Tim. They also missed 2 field goals. Will Lutz, one of them, that 46-yarder in the 4th quarter. The snow was really driving in by then. I was with less than 5 minutes to go. It would have tied the game. And after getting the ball back at the New England 33 in the 4th quarter, they only gained 5 yards when that attempt was blocked. And they actually got the ball back again, and then Stidham threw a really ugly interception, trying to hit, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, he was trying to hit Cortland Sutton, I believe, on a go ball there. It was picked off by Christian Gonzalez. Maybe he was trying to trick somebody else, but I think it was Sutton at that point in time. He was unable to reach him. Just a short throw and a game in which he was probably already exhausted at that point. And that pretty much was the story of this one. I mean, it was really slow. Like I mentioned, after that first half, all it took was 3 from the Patriots. And those 2 missed field goals, man. The second one, was blocked. It probably would have went in. It probably had the leg to get through the uprights if it was unblocked. But former Jet, of course it has to be a former Jet, Leonard Taylor II, who was picked up by the Patriots practice squad that week, comes up and makes the game-winning play for New England. Of course, just more salt in the wounds for New York Jets fans on that particular play. And the Broncos, Tim, their defense had done what they did all year long. They really held Drake May. He was nothing special all game. I have his numbers. They're abysmal. 10 for 21, 86 yards passing, 65 yards and 1 touchdown on 10 carries as well. Took 5 sacks, and late in the 3rd quarter, he had more rushing yards than passing yards. The only play for Denver that you really lament was late in the 3rd quarter. The big play that set up the field goal was a 28-yard scramble from Drake May on 3rd and 9, and that was pretty much all she wrote after that. So if there's one play that Vance Joseph's crew looks back on, it's probably that one. A tough loss nonetheless for the Denver Broncos in a good season. 2 really stout defenses. But just to put a bow on this overall, I think we said enough about the game. Tim, listen, I don't want to take anything away from the Patriots, okay? They were in the Super Bowl. There was no I can't, you know what I'm trying to say. There was no deflate gate this season. There was no cheating scandals, nothing like that. But let's be honest about it. They had the easiest strength of schedule in the Super Bowl era. Those are just the facts. That's straight up. That is known to be true. The whole football world knows it. And they've really coasted their way to the Super Bowl here. All 3 games they've won very easily on the heels of some really good defense. But let's say it for what it is. It's the unfortunate reality. New England's going to the Super Bowl. Timmy, this is a New York Sports podcast. It's a New York Sports program. We are diehard New York Jets fans. How frustrating is it for you the Patriots virtually cakewalked their way to Super Bowl 60?
It's very frustrating. I mean, it sucks, man. We're diehard Jet fans. We hate the Patriots. It sucks. I despise the Patriots. You have no idea how much I hate the Patriots. I mean, they just one-up us in everything, man. They're better than us in everything, and I hate it. I mean, it's just ridiculous, man. They're winners, though. They're winners, and we're losers. I mean, honestly, like, we just can't win, and they can. It sucks. They make it to the Super Bowl. We don't. We have 1 Super Bowl, 1969, and I wasn't even alive. I mean, it sucks seeing, on a real note, seeing Tom Brady make it to the Super Bowl so many years, and now Drake May is, he's so talented, man. He's so talented. I don't like the Patriots, but he's just very talented, and I could see him, potentially making it to a few Super Bowls. their team, the Patriots right now aren't great. But it just seems like the Patriots always have a good head coach, and that's the difference between two good teams. The big difference is comes down to the head coach and the quarterback. And they have a really good head coach in Mike Vrabel, and they have a really good quarterback in Drake May. And I think that's why they beat the teams that are as skilled or maybe a little bit better than them. Like, if you look at the roster right now, it's nothing too loaded, to be honest. It's really not great. They have Trayvon Henderson, they have Ramondre Stevenson, they have Stephon Diggs. Nothing else really stands out to me, and Diggs really isn't in his prime, to be honest. So it's like, no, man, I guess they just find a way to win. Previous years, the roster has been a lot better, but this year, man, if you told me in the beginning of the season the Patriots are going to be in the Super Bowl, I'd actually laugh, just looking at their roster, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And you talk about coaching and everything. Obviously, things soured with Bill Belichick a couple of years ago, and 1 year of Gerard Mayo, and we all knew it was just way too obvious. Vrabel was out there in the open market. He won multiple Super Bowls with the New England Patriots as a linebacker, so obviously had a deep connection with the organization right there.
Yep.
And it was too easy of a move for Bob Kraft to fire and let go of Gerard Mayo after 1 year and bring in Coach Vrabel and turn around a program that went 8-26 the past 2 years. And now they're on their way to an NFL best 12th Super Bowl. They won 6 under terrific Tom Brady, who had a very nice call on the Seahawks-Rams game yesterday. We're going to get into that game in just a little bit. And yes, the easiest schedule critique, it is a fair one. I don't care what you say about whatever. They face teams with a .391 combined opponent win percentage this year. It was the easiest in football. And that is just the reality of the situation. Drake May, you think he's a stud. I think the verdict is not completely out on him. He did lead the league with its 72 completion percentage, 3rd in touchdowns, 4th in yards. The sacks are an issue. Certainly have been persistent all postseason long. He took 47 sacks in the regular season. The completion percentage has really dipped in the postseason. They only needed 13 points to beat the Chargers, and the wild card round, they put up 28 against Houston, but C.J. Stroud had 5 turnovers, so that helped them a lot. Their defense really carried the load in that one, and obviously 10-7 yesterday. That game was heavily affected by both the weather and 2 great defenses going at it. I think the Patriots defense went into this underrated. The defenses that got all of the talk were Houston and Denver, rightfully so, because on paper they have better players, they have more lethal front fours and pass rushes. But man, Denver's secondary, Christian Gonzalez over there, he makes the game-sealing interception. And then on the other side, you have, forgetting one of their other corners' names, who's also a stud. Their defense has really stepped up. Christian Barmore, he made a few plays. Milton Williams, defensive line, 2 guys that get after it. And it's no surprise what the recipe has done. They're a very blitz-heavy team. They have been going after the quarterback all postseason long. They went right after Justin Herbert. They made C.J. Stroud feel the pressure, who had one of the worst games I've ever seen in postseason history. And then yesterday, Jarrett Stidham, a guy who hasn't played in 2 full seasons, the first quarterback in NFL history to start an AFC championship game without throwing a pass all regular season. He was just under duress all of yesterday, especially after that first touchdown. So, it sucks as a Jet fan to see New England go to the Super Bowl. With Sam Darnold, we're going to talk about him. There's bittersweetness to that because Sam was supposed to be ours. Sam was the man that we took with the 3rd overall pick in 2018. The vision was for him to take us to Super Bowls. That hurts in his own way, but as a Jet fan, him and to hold the longest active drought in North American sports at 15 seasons, and see the Patriots just go under 4 years of pain or whatever it was, a president's term of pain, and be right back to being under the spotlight in February, be right back to the precipice of winning a Super Bowl, it really hurts. And it goes to show you what good coaching can do. It's just amazing the turnaround that Mike Vrabel has done in just 1 year. And you're talking about a guy that affects all phases of the game. He obviously has a defensive background as a off-ball linebacker during his career, but this guy, he gives great insight to Drake May about how to break apart defenses. He's involved in every drill, running down the sideline with special teams on kickoffs. You can read all about it. You hear all of the guys from all over the league talk about how Mike Vrabel really casts a wide net as far as impact on his football team. And they're back. So that's just a reality. And after yesterday's game, after the AFC game yesterday, Tim, for us as Jet fans, didn't really matter who won. Well, we'll talk about it, but whoever won that game, we were going to end up rooting for in the Super Bowl, considering it's going to be New England representing the AFC. And man, did we get a good one. Final score from Lumen Field, it was 31-27. The Seattle Seahawks coming out on top. Now, the Patriots and the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. Seattle opened up as a 5-point favorite on BetMGM. As I mentioned at the top of the show, it's a Super Bowl rematch of 11 years ago in 2014. And here we go. I mean, what a game that really ended up being back and forth the whole way. Let's lead off with the game sequence here, Tim. Seattle right away, much like we saw in the Denver game, they get an explosive play to open things up. Rashid Shaheed had a 51-yard touchdown on the opening drive. Just a beautiful deep ball from Sam. Shaheed, one of the fastest guys with his legs in the NFL, just got to step over his defender. I think it was Williams, one of the weak links on that Rams secondary. He opened it up with the touchdown. Matthew Stafford had an excellent game for the Rams. We'll talk about some of that. The Seattle, the Rams, I think they got 2 field goals after that. They had some nice drives. Puka Nacua got off to a really fast start. They were able to get themselves on the board, and then the first touchdown for the Rams didn't come until 1:55 left in the second quarter when Stafford had a 12-play, 87-yard drive. It capped off by a nice 9-yard touchdown to Kyron Williams. Made it 13-10 Rams, so the Rams had the 2 field goals. Then the touchdown, they went ahead. But just before halftime, Tim, 74 yards in 34 seconds for Seattle, capped off by a touchdown throw to Jackson Smith-Njigba, 14 yards. To give Seattle a 17-13 lead going into the half. And you're thinking at that point in time, this could go either way. Both offenses looked pretty good, but we didn't know for the pandemonium that we would be in for in the second half. Xavier Smith, I mean, listen, Rams have been a good team all year, but as Tom Brady said, their Achilles heel all year has been special teams, and it really reared its ugly head in this game, especially when Rams returner Xavier Smith muffed the punt. Seattle recovers at the 17-yard line, and Jake Bobo on the ensuing play for Seattle. They get the ball at the 17. First play, Sam Darnold finds him in the end zone, his first touchdown of the season. And just like that, it's a 24-13 game, multi-score lead for Seattle. They would end up not relinquishing the lead. From there, obviously, still plenty of drama after that one. Stafford, immediate response. Immediate. He hits Parkinson on a big gash play over the middle, then finds Devontae Adams on a 29-yard catch, and then shortly after that, nice little back shoulder throw, 2 yards back to Tay Adams, who led receivers in the regular season in touchdowns with 14. He found him on a 2-yard over-the-shoulder pass. So 24-20 right now. The Seattle Seahawks still in front. Darnold, another response. Converted on a 3rd and long to Cooper Kupp and a few plays to Smith-Njigba. Kenneth Walker finally got going again on that drive. And then he capped it off, 13-yard pass to Cooper Kupp, his former team, obviously. He scored the touchdown. 31-20, Seahawks in front. And then the big penalty. So you saw a big special teams mistake by Xavier Gibson of the Rams. Well, if Seattle lost this game, everybody would have been talking about the taunting penalty from Reek Woolen. Took place on a 3rd and 12, gave the Rams a first down, and then Stafford finds Puka for a 34-yard touchdown over Woolen, over the guy who commits the penalty on the next play. And then, sorry, Tim, we'll get your talk on this. I just want to run down the whole gamut here. So 31-27, Seahawks in charge still. Seahawks defense forces the big goal line stand with under 5 minutes. Stafford, man, he played with such guts throughout this game. And the finish of this game was just incredible. Seattle comes up with the stop on the final play, questionable play call from Sean McVay, and they take over with 7 minutes and 24 seconds left. And they did their job. They got enough yards when Seattle took over. They salted the clock down to leave the Rams just 25 seconds and no timeouts. And to end the game, Stafford found Nakua, but looked like he got out of bounds originally, I thought, Tim, but then they said that he was out of bounds on that play. So the clock winds down. Boom, Seahawks are going to the Super Bowl. So just gave you the whole game recap of everything that happened in that one. Tim, real quick, man, like, what a game. And talk about that Rams, that goal line stop from Seattle. What did you see there, and should it have been a different play call?
I mean, it's tough to, they're on their own 30, right? And they got to get, field. They only had 8 seconds. I think I know what he was doing. He was just trying to get some yardage and then get Nakua out of bounds, and then probably going to go with a Hail Mary. I would have done a hook and ladder, I think. I would have thrown it down, hook it, go, get out of bounds, maybe with like 2-3 seconds left, maybe get to the 50, maybe kick a field goal. You see kickers nowadays kicking 70-yard field goals. Like, you just never know. I mean, you got to get a Hail Mary there. It's tough, man. It's tough with 8 seconds left.
Yeah, I'm glad you touched on that play. And also, listen, 7 minutes and 24 seconds on the drive from the Rams as they were trying to go down the field and score a touchdown to take the lead in the final minutes. Big play. Stafford came up huge on a 4th and 1. Big guts, taking it right up the middle to get the first. Then a few incompletions and great coverage by Seattle on the play that ultimately decided the game. Stafford drops back, and only 3 people end up rushing for Seattle. The rest of them drop back, and as Tom Brady had said on the broadcast, who had a great call, you're really dealing with limited. You either got to completely fool somebody or get a penalty, honestly, if you're going to stop them. You have 8 defenders in that Seattle end zone, just nowhere for Stafford to go with that ball. He tries to force it over the middle of the field to his tight end. Seattle's able to break it up. So good play call there. Maybe Sean McVay looked like he was close to calling a timeout to try and make a new play, but he ends up not doing that. But an excellent game. And one that I think we'll remember for a long time. We'll remember both of these games for different reasons and different stories for sure. But this one will
back and forth, man, all game. Yeah.
Two game. West Coast offenses going back at it. But let's see things from a Jet perspective, Tim. Sam Darnold was let go by the New York Jets. At the time, they actually got really good compensation for him. At least that's what it was thought to be. Getting a second-round pick for him, trading him away to the Carolina Panthers at just 23 years of age. But Tim, to see him now have the success that he's had, and obviously it took a couple stops for him to get straightened out. Failed in Carolina, essentially went to quarterback school in San Francisco for a few years, watching Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy in that offense. Then he gets the opportunity in Minnesota with J.J. McCarthy, who was supposed to take the reins for them that season, obviously tearing his Achilles early on. So Darnold gets handed the keys. 14 wins that season, comes up short to the Rams in the wild card, struggled the last 2 weeks of the season. Then this year, coming to Seattle on a $100 million deal. A lot of doubters still, a lot of can he really do it? Is Sam the real deal? And I think we could sit here now on January 26th, and the Seattle Seahawks are going to the Super Bowl again, and we can say that Sam is legit. He is for real. He showed up in the biggest plays, made the biggest throws when it mattered most in this football game. He out-quarterbacked Matthew Stafford, who was probably your MVP this year, or at least should be. how much does it hurt you? Or rather, I'll frame the question this way. I obviously have mixed emotions. Does it hurt you more or make you feel good about Sam Darnold headed to the Super Bowl?
It's definitely mixed emotions. Honestly, I'm more happy for him, to be honest.
Okay.
I always thought he had some potential, and honestly, just seeing him leave the Jets really hurt. Like you said, he was a backup for the 49ers, and just to see him, really put in the work, put in the time, build his way up, and now see where he is, it's honestly pretty cool. He's legit. Honestly, he's really good. It's just, it sucks. It sucks. There's a little bit of hurts a little bit to see him in the Super Bowl. I wish he was a Jet still, but overall, I am happy for him, and I am going to be rooting for him, and I really hope he does beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. I'm rooting for the Hawks, man. I'm rooting for the Hawks.
Yes, absolutely. As I mentioned, they're going to be 5-point favorites in this football game.
Yep.
I just can't envision, and we're going to have a preview show as well on this game, on this channel of the Super Bowl. We still have two more weeks, basically, until we get the matchup. So still plenty of time to talk about it. But just thinking about this game, all stats and everything aside, how did the Seahawks not win this game? They are just a far superior, better team on paper. They have the number one scoring defense. Their defense yesterday was probably the worst that they played in a long time. All three matchups between the Seahawks and the Rams were thrillers. They had a hard time stopping Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, and Kyron Williams in this football game. But still, we all know what their vaunted defense is capable of. They've already I forget what the name of it. It's like the Dark defense or something like that. But they already have a new little gag name to replace the old nickname for Seattle's great defenses, the Legion of Boom. And then Sam has shown you that he is an explosive quarterback. He makes a lot of explosive plays. He was remarkable in this game, 346 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Whereas in the previous games against the Rams, he had a lot of turnovers, but he was really stout in this one, efficient, and Jackson Smith-Njigba is amazing. I think everybody watching that game yesterday was just in awe of how frequently Smith-Njigba was getting open. His ability to create space is unbelievable. His first step off the ball. You saw in that touchdown that he had before the halftime, he's lined up behind Sam Darnold. Then he pops out and is able to get to the second level and get open. He can do it from the outside. Then he'll line up in the slot. And with their ability to go over the top, that makes it so easy for them when they hit it underneath to get a lot of yards there. Taking the top off the defense, they really do. Both of those teams do that. Obviously, Matthew Stafford has generational talent at taking teams over the top. Then he can hurt you underneath and multiple other ways. But Smith-Njigba is dynamic. He was good last year, his rookie year under Geno, who Geno had a lot of passing yards. But man, with Sam, you've really seen him make a name for himself and is one of the best receivers in football. You got to tip your cap to him. And this promises to be a really exciting Super Bowl. Glad I was able to run it down with you. And in case we don't talk to you again before the Super Bowl, why not give me a little final score prediction?
I'm going to go with Seahawks winning 27-24.
7-24. Okay. Yeah. I've heard some people say this too. They couldn't imagine this game getting into like the 30s or 40s range. These defenses are just too good. I would agree with you. I'm not going to make my prediction yet because I will probably have at least a few more episodes before we get to the Super Bowl. But I think that's a solid one. I like that, Tim. You can't pick the Patriots.
No, absolutely not.
Especially as a Jet fan, you cannot pick New England. And obviously, you think you know what team I'm going to pick, but we'll see just what my final score prediction is as we go down the stretch here. But can't wait for that one. Maybe let's talk about our New York Knicks. The last time that I recorded an episode was last Wednesday. We talked to our good buddy Jack Colucci, who you've known now for quite a few years. Met him at St. Dominic High School, and they were sliding. Sure. They had lost 9 of 11 to that point. Now, granted, they've only played 2 games since then, but the vibe around them feels a whole lot better. Especially, listen, the drubbing against the Nets was one thing, but they lost their previous 2 meetings to the Philadelphia 76ers, and they came out in that one, and just a gutty, gritty, big-time win on the road in Philly in rivalry weekend for that marketing ploy that the NBA is throwing out, along with the cup and all the other crap that they have. So pulling yourself out of a serious tailspin is obviously huge. Humiliating loss to Dallas, 114-97 on MLK Day. And that Nets game, just for context, 120-66. You could find a zillion different numbers about how historic of a win that was. Knicks hadn't held an opponent to that few points since 2012. 57 points was the largest margin of victory in Knicks history. So a lot of really positive things came out of that one. Seems like the Nets have always been a great get-right game for the Knicks in recent history. They've now beat them 13 straight times, and they haven't lost to them since Nick Claxton uttered the words, "I've never lost to the Knicks before." You can look it up. Well, now, buddy, you've been there for plenty of losses, almost 15, over a dozen, Baker's dozen, in fact. How are you looking now? Nets are equipped to unload at this year's trade deadline. So big win there, and I don't know if you were able to catch the game on Saturday, Tim, but man, they didn't make it easy. OG Anunoby was a hero, then he almost became a villain, then a hero again. What a win for the Knicks.
Oh, yeah, that was a great win. Yeah, we really needed that one. You know, we haven't been doing great, to be honest. We needed that win. Honestly, I thought Brunson was awesome. I think he had 31. You know, I just love the fight in our team. We were down. We came back. We didn't quit. I love Mitch, man. He plays his heart and soul at every single game. I mean, he's just awesome, man. You know who I like too? Shamet. When we need a three-point shooter, he's our guy. You know, great win. You know, VJ Edgecombe's, he's legit. That guy's legit. He's going to be really good, man. He's definitely going to be one of the futures of the league. He's tough.
Where did he go again? Was he the Rutgers guy? Or Dylan Harper was. VJ Edgecombe was Baylor, I guess.
You went to Baylor. Lehigh, then Baylor for a year. Yep.
Yes. So Long Island native, VJ Edgecombe, yeah.
Yeah, I watched him play in high school. He's an athletic. And you know what's the biggest difference between he was a pretty, you know, he's obviously very athletic. He could his biggest thing is, I would say, his athleticism. He could jump, he could dunk, he could drive, slash. His three-point shooting's actually surprised me. It's actually been a lot better than I thought, especially the difference between the college and three-point line. You know, some people struggle their first year, and he's been shooting it pretty well, honestly. He's legit. I love the thought in our team. I must say I'm not a fan of Karl Anthony Towns at all. I must say I'm hoping that we do trade him. I don't like his hustle. You know, I'm a big defensive guy. And, you know, I think he complains a lot. I don't like his body language. I don't think he's coachable at all. You know, he'll turn the ball over. I see him turn the ball over. He'll yell at the ref. He'll jog back. You know, if you turn the ball over, your first instinct has to be get that ball back and spread back on defense. And, you know, Mike Brown, I could definitely see that I don't think he likes Cat. Gonna be honest here, Matt. I don't think. And mark my words, I could see Cat getting traded.
That would be a shocker to me, Tim, especially with James Dolan's word on a spot at WFAN a couple weeks ago where, granted, this was before really things started to get out of control bad for the Knicks, and they had that really extended stretch of losing. But I would say around January 5th, so around 3 weeks ago or whatever, when he came on the Fan and he said that this is the core that he expects to not only get to an NBA Finals, but potentially win one as well. That's coming straight from the horse's mouth. There's the owner saying that, so I wouldn't anticipate them making any mass changes at this deadline unless it were to be for Giannis. The Bucks are really struggling over there, so that might change their perception about whether to trade him or not at this year's deadline. I'd still be very, very surprised about that. The Cat conversation is an extended one to have. I think all of your reasons for being frustrated with him are valid. Just watching him, and I talked about this with Jack on the last pod. You watch a Knicks basketball game from start to finish, it is so incredibly frustrating to see some of the things that Karl Anthony Towns does over the course of a game with the flailing arms, with the complaining about the fouling, with sometimes just making the bad play, the boneheaded play, not making the smart play. So there are certainly frustrations to be had, but the Knicks, they do get back on the right track and getting it done on the road, big time. Nova Knicks coming up big. And in this game, Tim, you mentioned VJ Edgecombe as well. But it was a team effort. Brunson dropped 31. Anunoby also had an outstanding basketball game here. And they were able to get back on the right track. So throw this by me, because, listen, you just said it yourself. You're not a cat guy. Outside of Giannis, because I've had this conversation with way too many people too often, I just don't think that that's going to happen. Say the Knicks continue, this little 2-game bump that we've received goes right back out the window. They go slouching into February. Trade deadline rolls around. Team continues to plummet down the standings. We fall out of the 3 seed of the Eastern Conference and dip into the play-in spot. What to you? Give me a mock trade. Give me a mock trade of Karl Anthony Towns and what you would look for in return.
I mean, I would look for someone young. You can go with this. You can go with this a lot of ways. Like, I would rather someone young that hustles. I mean, yes, I love that cat can shoot the ball. I really do. But he just doesn't play defense, and defense wins championships. And especially with Brunson being such like he's not a great defender. Probably your 2 best players not being good at defense, you're not going to win championships. So even someone like I don't know. I'm trying to think of someone a good trade here. Even like
I saw Jeremy Grant and that other. Go ahead.
You go.
I saw Grant and Stephen Bondi put this out. It was a real long shot, but I did see Grant from the Trailblazers and another guy. Trying to think who it was. Grant's a 3-and-D guy, can shoot a little bit, probably averages around 20 a game. And I'm looking at their roster right now. And Drew Holiday for Karl Anthony Towns. That improves the front court defense.
Yep.
That solidifies. You get a little bit more shooting. Maybe you get a little bit more athletic. But you're losing major scoring ability. And you're losing rebounding as well. Rebounding is already something that the Knicks have struggled with, especially in the past few weeks. Karl Anthony Towns, statistically, by many accounts and many metrics, been one of the best rebounders in basketball this year, both on the offensive and defensive glass. He's been able to position himself really well. So that's where I pause a little bit for that one. So you're negating some things, you're adding others. But I don't anticipate a major shakeup. We'll see how it plays out. But at least we can put a little bit more of a smile on our face with where the Knicks stand at this very point in time. And we move onward and upward, man. Tim, it was great having you on. I'll say this too. We've been treated to some unbelievable NFL playoffs. In your lifetime, Tim, we watched some of it at home. Unfortunately, we're good buddies. We're able to catch any of the action together. But, man, watch some of it at school this week and last week. Just this week for you. I know you got back more recently. But I watched some of the games up here with some pals, and we've been treated to some unbelievable playoff football. That Bears-Rams game in the divisional round, going to overtime. Caleb Williams making a ridiculous throw to Cole Kmet in the end zone to send that one to OT. And a chance to go downfield and get in scoring position and win the game. Unable to do that. Rams advance. Rams with a really strong showing this week, just come up short in 31-27. Every game, the only games that have stunk have been the Patriots ones. Boring ass, insane wild card weekend.
That's a good point.
From the start to finish, Jaguars and Bills, great game. Josh Allen making clutch plays at the end to win the game for Buffalo. You had, trying to think of the other games in wild card weekend that were good. You had the 49ers going into Philly on the road, knocking off the defending champs. I think most New Yorkers, especially Giant fans, were happy to see that one. Excellent game there. What else do we got?
Oh, yeah.
Wild card weekend.
Every game's been good besides the Patriots games, like you said.
Besides New England, man. And here they are. They're back in the Super Bowl. It's just unbelievable to me, dude. But I can't wait.
Likewise.
It should be good. When's the next Knicks game, you know?
Is it? I think it's tomorrow.
I
don't think they play tonight.
I mean, their schedule's been pretty light recently. I don't know when they play next, but it's got to be either tonight or tomorrow. I think they might play.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, they play Sacramento.
It's tomorrow against the Kings. Yeah, it's tomorrow.
That's a huge game right now.
At home, I believe. At home.
Yes, it's definitely at home because that was part of a really rough stretch for the Knicks, losing to the Kings, one of the worst teams in the West, losing to them on the road. Mike Brown's return to Sacramento there, where he won a Coach of the Year in 3 years. That was a horrible game. Lost another bad one to Golden State on that trip as well. So Knicks got to keep it rolling, man. Got to get 3 in a row and get back into December mode. Knicks were fantastic during December. There's best months of the season.
Get some wins,
Great
man.
win on Christmas Day. I forget exactly what the record was, but it was a December to remember for the Knickerbockers, and we move onward and upward. Tim, hope everything's good over there at C-State, and great having you on, bro.
Great having you. Thank you for having me, Matt. I hope you're doing good at Dayton, man. Go Flyers.
Go Flyers. Flyers are like the Knicks. They're stumbling right now, going down the A-10 standings, but it's another story for another day. The players got to lock in for sure. Thanks for tuning in to this edition of the New York Sports Take. We will see you soon.